G'day Spurs fans, Paul the Hotspur hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. Hope you're all doing well. You know, this morning I was a bit flat when I woke up. I've done a long old stream this morning, and thanks to everyone who tuned in. We all got through together, you lifted my spirits. Reasons for me feeling a bit down are quite simple really. We lost, I don't like winning, but I'll get onto the match in a minute. Didn't get much sleep after the game. And the news of Terry Venables passing away really quite hit me. Terry was quite a character. That was in the days when I was going to games at White Hart Lane, and Terry arrived at the club when we were losing our way. And he righted the ship, and he got our team to overperform. We weren't superstars. Not every player was Lineker and Gascoigne at that time. And he got us an FA Cup. Great personality. Great England manager, and also a great Australian soccer national manager as well. He almost got Australia through to the '98 World Cup, came that close. So very, very sad news. It's one of those things when you move countries, you kind of lose track of people getting old a bit, so I was quite shocked by it. I was unaware that Terry had been going through an illness for quite some time. I was on a stream with David Harris, the Irish Hotspur, when the news came through last night, and the first thing that popped into my head, it's one of my treasured possessions, is the 1967 Spurs FA Cup record. And you know, to list the players on that record would be astonishing, man. But they're all there. It's a bit of a Cockney knees up. Terry Venables is front and centre, and it's a record that me and my mates used to listen to a fair old bit, mainly to make fun of Terry Venables' cheese ball showmanship. It's fantastic. And on that record he sings Bye Bye Blackbird, and that's the song that just popped into my head straight away. That's what when I think of Terry Venables, somehow that's what I think of. And so I've done a little video. If you look in my video feeds, I've uploaded that also with a link to the entire single, about 7 or 8 songs on it, all little, it's like a medley, but it's a lot of fun. If you want a bit of Spurs history, go and check that out. Anyway, on to the game. Now, as I said, a bit down because we lost, but there's a lot of positives coming out of that. For a start, compared to the Wolves game, we were light years ahead of that. And with his team selection, I started feeling really good when I saw that. You know, bear in mind, folks, we haven't got a manager that's going to put up with the same old crap week after week. If things needs changing, he's going to change it. He's absolutely ruthless. The lineup putting Emerson Royale at centre back instead of Eric Dyer, music to my ears. Jacob from United Spurs of America predicted that. Kulu moving back into midfield with Hill up front. I predicted that, but Jacob overruled me. But it was an exciting lineup, wasn't it? 2 goalkeeper subs, don't know what happened near men, but you know, there you go, can't have everything. And you know what? I thought we played really well. This is kind of our second 11. And it looks like the message is getting through from Ange. I think the swapping of Dyer for Royale made a huge difference actually. We were actually passing it forwards up the pitch. There wasn't a lot of sideways and backwards stuff, which is kind of the main thing I'm sort of looking for at the moment when we're playing football. Our intent was to attack, and really we dominated Aston Villa for large periods of that game. I can't say we deserved to win because Aston Villa scored 2 goals and we scored 1. But we played really, really well. Some near misses. I think we hit the post 2 or 3 times. Ben Davies missed a bit of a sitter header near the end, but I think the boys did well. Brian Hill was nice and snippy and nippy, using his physique to an advantage. You know, football is a wide old church. People of all sorts of physiques can play it, and Brian Hill certainly wasn't being muscled off the ball. He was nipping in between and out of players like a whippet. It was good to see. Lo Celso played really well, scored a banger volley, I don't care if it was deflection, and he loved it. So maybe Lo Celso's coming to the party. Bentancur though was the main man in midfield. He was absolutely a fantastic player, such a class player. Udogie didn't put a foot wrong. Vicario made some fantastic saves. But alas, alack, it wasn't to be our day today. When Bentancur got injured by Matt Cash in an absolutely disgusting challenge, and I tell you what, Matt Cash, if I were you, I wouldn't be showing up to work on March the 24th when we come up to Aston Villa and play you guys, because you might get a little love letter from Romero for doing that to one of our players. Totally out of order, totally disgusting. Unai Emery recognised that the player had lost his marbles, took him off at half time. Disgusting. I'm all for a bit of biff on the pitch, don't mind it, but when you're injuring players, that's a different thing. Different thing. So that, I was worried when Bentancur came off. There's no news yet on his injury outlook. It's some sort of ankle problem. Don't know if it's serious, don't know if it's mild. But Pierre-Emile Højbjerg came on for him. And you know what? I think Pierre did really, really well. He was doing some really nice balls and switches of plays. He's got it into his head to go up the pitch now. That's what Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's doing. That's what all our players seem to be doing now. The intensity of our play was, our tempo, that's a better word, our tempo was very high. And I think that maybe, you know, one of the reasons why our forwards are not quite getting there quite yet. They're getting very, very close though, and I believe that they will get there. But we're playing at such a high tempo and intensity, you know, they've got to think quicker or their instincts have got to be sharper, put it that way. That will come though, I've no doubt, Then just before, obviously just before half time, concede a free kick, set piece, Ben Davies, it was a good free kick, and it was a good goal by Aston Villa. And the second half I thought we played well as well. Again, large periods of domination. Skip came on, didn't do much. Maybe we won't be seeing too much more of Skip. You know, Ange seems to be giving a few of these players a last chance to have a good look at them. I don't think we'll ever see Eric Dyer in a Tottenham shirt again. I think he's gone. I mean, that's embarrassing. The fact that Emerson Royale, a right back, can come on and do a centre back job better than a specialised centre back. Emo did well. Look, he's not perfect, but he did good enough. Good enough, man. Pedro Porro is fantastic. Kulusevski was great. Brian Johnson showed some real pace. We started getting a bit tired out near the end of the game, and that's why we need a few transfer windows to freshen up the squad. But bear in mind, these are the players that would usually be coming on the pitch, some of them. So it's probably not as bad as you know, I sometimes think. But look, overall, my impression was I don't like to use the word unlucky, but that match went way better than I thought it was. Like, I thought we would win, but I always think Spurs are going to win. But it makes me very, very hopeful for the Man City game. For that new lineup to play that well in that formation, and Ange is probably going to make some changes or whatever, I think we're going to play even better next week against Man City. Whether it would be good enough to nick a point or three, who knows, man. But I think we're going to weather this storm, this crisis we're going through. We're going to be all right, man. Whether results will reflect that, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest, because it's the style of play that's the important thing, and the players are getting it. And the more we do that, the more successful we will become. So it could still be tricky waters, but the players are showing a lot of courage, sticking to the plan. They should be applauded for that. I had a text from a friend of mine in England that went to the game. He said lots of fans stayed back to applaud the team after the game, so the fans are up for it. Ange said after the game he was pleased with the performance. You know, we can't get too bogged down looking at results. I know when you look at it, 3 losses in a row. Losses for very different reasons though, weren't they? It's not like it's a consistent pattern of poor play or anything like that. There's some deep rot in there. They're quite extraordinary circumstances that we're having to cope with, and I think Ange is showing us he's up to the job. I hope people write us off. I hope people keep saying Ange is outclassed. People have found him out. You can't play football like that, because I'm telling you, we bloody well can. I've seen it so many times with this guy, And to be honest, this is what we're doing now. If you don't like what we're doing, I wouldn't keep watching the games, because we're not changing. We're going to keep doing this, and when it comes off, wow, we're going to have such happy times at White Hart Lane, because this is the way Tottenham Hotspur play matches. I love the pressing of our guys. We won the ball so many times up in Aston Villa's half and made them make mistakes. It was fantastic. I mean, this was supposed to be a game of two attacking teams, the battle of the high lines. Nah, man, we forced Aston Villa to change their plan. This is what happens. I mean, they got a win, but you know, doesn't happen every game where you change your plan, you can get away with it. We forced them to sit deep and go on the counter attack. No team's bloody well doing that to us. As Ange said right at the outset, if you want to get in his way and think you can change him, you might slow it down a bit, but there's no stopping us. You might as well just hop on the train and enjoy the ride. And you know what? I was a bit down because of the result, but it could have been a lot worse. And I think, you know, there were times I was watching the game and I was thoroughly entertained. 1-2 touch passing, very quick. You know, if we can do that with such an understrength team, you know, maybe the title is edging a little away, but maybe it's not. Until next time, folks, peace and love, man, and come on you Spurs.